Midnight in Millfield, and I'm elbow-deep in my truck's engine when I hear my 16-year-old daughter Sophie's voice cutting through the garage wall like a rusty blade. "You think Dad's ever going to find out? He's too busy getting punched in the face by Lou's meatheads to notice you're out all night with Uncle Dean." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My wrench slips, scraping my knuckles raw against the engine block. Uncle Dean, my brother Dean. The golden boy who never left this dying factory town but somehow made it work for him with his stupid gym and his collection of desperate housewives looking for a workout that had nothing to do with cardio. I'm Tyler Harper, 36 years old, professional photographer when clients actually call, amateur mechanic when they don't, and apparently the family court jester according to my own kid. Sophie's talking to someone, probably her mother, my wife Ava, in that conspiratorial whisper teenagers think adults can't hear. "Mom, seriously, he's clueless. Last week you said you were working late on the Henderson campaign, but I saw Dean's car at that motel on Route 9, the same night." The wrench clatters to the concrete floor. My hands are shaking, and it's not from the October cold seeping through the garage door gaps. Ava's been coming home later and later, smelling like someone else's cologne and offering explanations that sound rehearsed. But Dean, my own brother? I wipe my hands on an oil-stained rag and creep closer to the wall, separating the garage from the kitchen. Through the thin drywall, I can hear Ava's voice now, lower than Sophie's, but just as clear. "Your father doesn't need to know anything right now. Dean and I are just figuring things out." Figuring things out. That's rich. In Millfield, when a married woman is figuring things out with another man, the whole town knows before her husband does. Except, apparently when that husband is me, too busy documenting other people's happy moments through a camera lens to notice his own life falling apart. "But what about that whole open marriage thing you guys talked about?" Sophie asks. "I mean, if you're gonna do this, shouldn't Dad get to play around too?" Open marriage. 3 months ago, Ava brought it up over dinner like she was suggesting we try a new restaurant. "It's progressive, Ty. Lots of couples are exploring it. We could have more freedom, more honesty." I'd laughed it off, thinking it was one of those ideas she'd picked up from her social media marketing job, where everything had to be cutting edge and Instagram-worthy. Apparently, Ava had already started exploring. "Your father agreed to the arrangement," Ava says, and I can hear her moving around the kitchen, probably making that chamomile tea she drinks when she's stressed. "If he chooses not to take advantage of it, that's his decision." The arrangement. Like our marriage is a business deal she's renegotiating behind my back. I agreed to the open marriage concept the way you agreed to a hypothetical question. "Sure, honey, if we ever wanted to try that, we could talk about it." I never thought she'd take it as a green light to start screwing my brother. I grab my phone and scroll through Ava's Instagram. She posts constantly for work, lifestyle shots, behind-the-scenes content for her clients, carefully curated glimpses of our perfect family life. 3 days ago, a photo of her laptop and coffee cup with the caption, "Late night grinding on the Henderson campaign." Client work. Marketing life, worth it. The location tag says, Ava's office. But I remember that night. She came home at midnight with her hair messed up and lipstick gone, claiming she'd been in meetings until 10 and then grabbed drinks with her team to celebrate closing the deal. I screenshot the post and open Google Maps. Route 9. Motel is 15 miles from her office, in the opposite direction from our house. If she was really working late, she'd have come straight home. If she was really having drinks with her team, she would have invited me or at least mentioned where they went. My phone buzzes with a text from Dean. "Boxing tomorrow? Lou's got some new heavy bags he wants us to test out." I stare at the message for a long moment. Dean's been my workout partner for 2 years, Ever since I started boxing at Lou's gym to deal with the stress of running my own photography business in a town where people would rather take pictures with their phones than pay a professional. We've spent hours sweating and bleeding together, talking about everything: work, family, dreams we'd given up on. Everything except the fact that he's been sleeping with my wife. I type back, "Sure, need to work off some frustration." His response comes immediately. "Everything okay, bro?" Bro, right. "Just the usual married man problems," I reply. "Ha, I don't miss that drama. See you at 8. The kitchen goes quiet, and I hear footsteps on the stairs. Sophie and Ava are heading to bed, probably thinking they've had their little heart-to-heart without Dad overhearing. I wait until I hear Ava's bedroom door close. Our bedroom door, though she's been sleeping on her side with enough space between us to park a car. I pull up her phone records online. We're on a family plan, and I've got access to all the accounts. 3 months of data, right there in black and white. Calls to Dean's number, sometimes lasting an hour or more, always when I was out on photo shoots or at the gym. Text messages I can't read, but the frequency tells the story. Dozens per day, starting right around the time she brought up the open marriage idea. My wife didn't want an open marriage. She wanted permission to cheat without calling it cheating. I screenshot everything and email it to myself from an account she doesn't know about. Then I sit in my truck in the dark garage, engine ticking as it cools, and plan my next move. Tomorrow, I'm going to follow her. The next morning, Ava's up before her alarm, humming while she makes coffee. She's wearing the black dress that hugs her curves just right, the one she used to wear for our anniversary dinners, back when we had anniversary dinners worth dressing up for. "Big day at work?" I ask, keeping my voice casual while I butter toast for Sophie's lunch. "The Henderson campaign presentation is this afternoon," she says without looking at me. "Might run late again if we need to make revisions." Sophie rolls her eyes as she grabs her backpack. At 16, she's got Ava's dark hair and sharp cheekbones, but she's inherited my skeptical nature and my talent for seeing through bullshit. Unfortunately, she's using those skills against me instead of for me. "Dad, can you pick me up from Jessica's house tonight? Mom's gonna be busy." The way she says busy makes it clear she knows exactly what kind of busy her mother will be. "Sure, sweetheart. What time?" "Like 10? We're working on a project." Ava kisses my cheek, a quick, obligatory peck that feels like a business transaction. "Love you. See you tonight." After they leave, I call my only client scheduled for today and reschedule the family portrait session. "Food poisoning," I tell them, which isn't entirely a lie. The truth about my wife is making me sick to my stomach. I follow Ava's silver Honda at a distance, staying back far enough that she won't notice me, but close enough to see where she goes. She drives to her office like always, parks in her usual spot, and disappears into the glass building that houses Millfield Marketing Solutions. So far, so normal. I park across the street at a diner and order coffee, positioning myself at a window table with a clear view of the parking lot. At 11:30, Ava comes out of the building and gets in her car. She's changed clothes. Now she's wearing jeans and a sweater, like she's dressing down for something casual. Or someone casual. I follow her through downtown Millfield, past the empty storefronts and the old factory that's been for sale for 10 years, past the high school where we met in drama class, past the church where we got married. She turns onto Route 9, heading toward the lake. My phone buzzes. Dean. "Rain check on boxing? Got something I need to handle this afternoon." Something. Right. The Route 9. Motel sits on a hill overlooking Millfield Lake, the kind of place that rents rooms by the hour and doesn't ask questions about who's paying. Ava pulls into the parking lot and parks next to a familiar black pickup truck. Dean's truck. I park behind a cluster of pine trees at the edge of the lot and watch through my camera's telephoto lens. Professional equipment, coming in handy for personal destruction. Ava walks to room 12 and knocks. The door opens, and Dean pulls her inside without either of them looking around first. Amateurs. I spend the next hour taking pictures. Not of them. I'm not that kind of photographer. And besides, the curtains are drawn. But I document everything else. License plates, timestamps, the motel sign, the room number. Evidence that my wife and brother are exactly where they shouldn't be, doing exactly what I suspected. At 2:30, they come out together. Dean's hair is messed up, and Ava's lipstick is gone. They talk for a few minutes by their cars. Too far away for me to hear, but their body language tells the story. His hand on her lower back, her fingers tracing his chest, the way they keep looking at each other like teenagers who just discovered sex. They've been doing this for months, and I've been the last to know. Ava drives back to her office. Dean heads toward his gym. I sit in my truck for another 10 minutes, hands shaking with rage, before I make a decision that will change everything. I get out of my truck and walk to Dean's pickup. The tires are expensive, the kind of all-terrain monsters he bought to make his truck look tougher than it needs to be for driving around Millfield. I pull out my pocket knife and drive it deep into the sidewall of his rear driver's side tire, then the front passenger tire for good measure. The air hisses out slowly, and I feel a savage satisfaction watching his truck sink toward the asphalt. I write a note on the back of a gas station receipt. Hope it was worth it, champ. VV for vengeance. Dean will think it's some random vandalism, but I'll know better. I'm walking back to my truck when I see Mrs. Feldman, our 70-year-old neighbor who seems to spend her entire retirement driving around town looking for gossip to spread. She's in her ancient Buick in the motel parking lot, and she's got her phone out, taking pictures. Of me. Shit. I wave at her like nothing's wrong, get in my truck, and drive away. My phone starts buzzing before I'm even back to the main road. Text from Ava. We need to talk. Now. Mrs. Feldman works fast. I drive home slowly, taking the long way through downtown to give myself time to think. Ava's car is already in the driveway when I pull up, and I can see her pacing in the living room through the front window. She's waiting by the door when I walk in, still wearing the jeans and sweater from her afternoon rendezvous, her arms crossed and her face flushed with anger. What the hell were you doing at the Route 9 motel? I hang up my jacket and look at her calmly. I could ask you the same question. Mrs. Feldman saw you slashing tires in the parking lot. She sent me pictures. Did she send you pictures of what you were doing there? Ava's mouth opens and closes like a fish. For someone who makes her living crafting perfect social media responses, she's remarkably bad at thinking on her feet when she's caught red-handed. Tyler, I can explain. Can you? Because I'd love to hear the explanation for why my wife and my brother were in a motel room together for 2 hours on a Thursday afternoon. She sits down hard on the couch, and for a moment she looks like the 20-year-old girl I fell in love with in high school, vulnerable and scared and sorry. Then her expression hardens, and she becomes the woman who's been lying to me for months. We talked about this, Ty. The open marriage. You agreed. I agreed to a hypothetical conversation over dinner. I didn't agree to you screwing my brother behind my back while lying to me about working late. It's not behind your back if we're in an open marriage. Are we? Because I don't remember signing any papers or setting any ground rules or having any of the conversations that people in actual open marriages have. I remember you floating an idea and me saying, sure, we could talk about that someday. Ava stands up and starts pacing again. You're being deliberately obtuse. You knew what I meant. No, Ava. You knew what you meant. You wanted to cheat without consequences, so you manufactured my consent to make yourself feel better about it. It's not cheating if what? If you call it something else? If you pretend I agreed to it? If you pick my brother so it's all in the family? She flinches at that last part, and I know I've hit the mark. Dean and it just happened. We didn't plan it. Bullshit. You've been texting him for months. You've been lying to me about where you're going and what you're doing. You changed your whole appearance, started wearing sexy clothes to work, started caring about your body again after years of sweatpants and ponytails. None of this just happened, Ava. You planned it. My phone buzzes with a call from Dean. I decline it, but it starts ringing again immediately. Answer it, Ava says. Let me talk to him. So you two can get your stories straight? I don't think so. Dean calls 4 more times before giving up and sending a text. Bro, what the hell? Someone slashed my tires at the motel. You know anything about this? I show Ava the text. Your boyfriend wants to know if I vandalized his truck. He's not my boyfriend. What is he then? Your buddy? Your side piece? Help me understand the terminology here because I'm new to this whole open marriage thing you signed us up for. Ava's face crumples, and she starts crying, the kind of manipulative tears she's used to get out of trouble since high school. Tyler, please. I never meant for it to happen like this. How did you mean for it to happen? Were you planning to ask my permission first? Were you going to invite me to watch? Were you going to pick someone who wasn't my brother? I don't know, okay? I was confused and lonely, and Dean was there, and you were always at the gym or working, and I needed someone to pay attention to me. So this is my fault? That's not what I said. It's what you implied. Poor neglected Ava, forced to seek comfort in my brother's bed because her husband was too busy working to support his family. She wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, smearing her makeup. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Finding out that my wife and my brother have been laughing at me behind my back for months. You know what's not fair? My own daughter knowing about your affair before I did. You know what's not fair? You using the open marriage conversation as retroactive permission for cheating. The front door opens, and Sophie walks in with her backpack slung over her shoulder. She takes one look at us, me standing with my arms crossed, Ava crying on the couch, and rolls her eyes. Let me guess. Dad found out about Mom and Uncle Dean. Sophie, Ava starts. What? It's not like it was a secret. Half the school knows. Jessica's mom saw you guys at that restaurant last week, the one out by the highway. She posted about it on Facebook. My stomach drops. Posted what? Sophie pulls out her phone and scrolls through Facebook. Here. Saw Ava Harper having a romantic dinner with her brother-in-law at Antonio's tonight. Wonder if Tyler knows his wife is stepping out on him. Some people have no shame. She shows me the post. 43 likes and 27 comments. All from people I know, all talking about my marriage like it's their personal entertainment. The whole town knows, I say quietly. Pretty much, Sophie confirms. Sorry, Dad. I thought you knew and just didn't care. Ava stands up, her face red with embarrassment and anger. Sophie, go to your room. Why? So you guys can fight about it some more? I've got homework anyway. Try to keep it down. I've got a test tomorrow. She disappears upstairs, leaving Ava and me alone with the wreckage of our marriage spread out between us like broken glass. Tyler, Ava says softly, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry you did it? Or sorry you got caught? She doesn't answer, which is an answer in itself. My phone buzzes with another call from Dean. This time I answer it. Ty, thank God. Listen, someone messed up my truck at the motel, and I know exactly who messed up your truck, Dean. Silence on the other end of the line. Tyler, he says finally, we need to talk. No, we really don't. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You're sleeping with my wife, and you've been doing it for months, and the whole town knows about it except me. Ava told you? I look at my wife, who's gone pale. Ava didn't tell me shit. I figured it out myself, like a grown-up. Look, I can explain. Don't. Just don't. I don't want to hear your excuses or your justifications or your bullshit about how it just happened. I want you to stay away from my family. Tyler, you're my brother. No, I say, and my voice is steady and cold. I was your brother. Now you're just some guy who's sleeping with my wife. I hang up and look at Ava. She stopped crying, and she's watching me with something that might be fear. What happens now? She asks. Now? Now I figure out what I'm going to do about this mess you've made. Tyler, please, can we try to work this out? Can we go to counseling or something? You want to work it out? Fine. Here's how we work it out. You stop seeing Dean, you quit lying to me, and you start acting like you're married to me instead of him. Okay, yes, I can do that. And you post on Facebook that you and Dean are done. Whatever you were doing is over, and you're committed to fixing our marriage. She hesitates. Do I have to be that public about it? Ava, you made this public when you started screwing around in a town where everyone knows everyone else's business. You don't get to keep your affair private now that you've been caught. Okay, I'll post something. Tonight. I nod and head for the stairs. I'm going to bed. We'll talk more tomorrow. Tyler? I turn back to look at her. I do love you. I know this doesn't look like it, but I do. If you loved me, I say quietly, you wouldn't have betrayed me with my brother. I go upstairs and close the bedroom door, leaving her alone with the consequences of her choices. But I'm not done. Not even close. This is just the beginning. I don't sleep that night. Instead, I lie in bed listening to Ava move around downstairs, probably trying to figure out how to spin this disaster on social media. Around 2 a.m., I hear her typing on her laptop, the same laptop she claimed to be using for late-night client work while she was actually planning hookups with my brother. At 3 a.m., she finally comes to bed, sliding under the covers on her side and maintaining the careful distance we've been keeping for months. She pretends to sleep, and I pretend not to notice she's pretending. By morning, I've made my decision. Ava's already gone when I wake up, probably to her office or maybe to meet Dean and coordinate their damage control strategy. Sophie's in the kitchen making cereal, scrolling through her phone with the focused attention of a teenager monitoring social media drama. Mom posted on Facebook last night, she says without looking up. Want to see? She shows me Ava's post. Going through a difficult time in my marriage, but Tyler and I are committed to working things out. Please respect our privacy as we focus on our family. 42 comments already, mostly supportive but with an undercurrent of gossip and speculation. No mention of Dean, no admission of the affair, no apology to me or acknowledgement of what she actually did wrong. Pretty weak, Sophie observes. She made it sound like you guys are having generic marriage problems, not like she was cheating with Uncle Dean. What do you think she should have said? Sophie shrugs. I don't know. The truth? That she screwed up and hurt you and she's sorry? Smart kid. Too bad she's been keeping her mother's secrets instead of looking out for her father. Sophie, can I ask you something? Sure. How long have you known about your mom and Dean? She puts down her spoon and looks at me directly for the first time in months. Like 3 months? I saw them together at the mall when I was there with friends. They were holding hands and being all gross and coupley. And you didn't think to tell me? I thought you already knew. Mom said you guys had an arrangement. We didn't have an arrangement. We had a conversation about hypothetical arrangements. Oh. She looks genuinely surprised. Wow, that's really messed up. Yeah, it is. Are you going to divorce her? It's a fair question, and I don't have a good answer. I don't know yet. I'm still figuring out what I want to do. Sophie nods and goes back to her cereal. For what it's worth, Dad, I think you deserve better. Thanks, kiddo. After Sophie leaves for school, I drive to Lou's gym. Lou Castellano is 62 years old, built like a fire hydrant, and the closest thing I have to a real friend in this town. He owns the boxing gym where I've been working out for 2 years, and he's got the kind of old-school wisdom that comes from watching people make the same mistakes over and over again. The gym is empty, except for Lou, who's wrapping his hands at the heavy bag like he's preparing for a fight instead of a workout. Heard you had some excitement yesterday, he says without looking at me. News travels fast. Feldman's been calling everyone she knows. Says you went crazy at the Route 9 motel, slashing tires and making threats. I slashed 2 tires. I didn't make any threats. What about the note? How do you know about the note? Lou grins. Because Dean came by here last night, whining about someone vandalizing his truck and asking if I knew who might have a grudge against him. When I asked him what he was doing at a motel in the middle of the day, he got real quiet real fast. And I told him that if he was stupid enough to mess around with his brother's wife, he was stupid enough to deal with the consequences. I start wrapping my own hands, focusing on the familiar ritual of preparing for violence. You're not surprised. Tyler, I've been watching people destroy their lives for 60 years. Your brother's been sniffing around married women since high school, and your wife's been looking for attention anywhere she can get it since she started coming to your fights. I'm surprised it took this long. She's been coming to my fights? Not to watch you fight, to watch other people watch you fight. She likes being the wife of the tough guy, but she doesn't like the tough guy himself. That stings, but it also makes sense. Ava always enjoyed the attention she got when I won matches, the way other women looked at her with envy, and other men looked at her with interest. She liked being married to someone dangerous, but she didn't like the actual danger. So what are you going to do about it? Lou asks. I don't know yet. You want some advice? Sure. Don't get mad, get even. What's the difference? Mad is emotional. Mad makes you do stupid things that get you in trouble. Even is strategic. Even is about making them pay the right price for the right reasons. I spend the next hour beating the hell out of a heavy bag, working out my anger and frustration until my shoulders ache and my knuckles are raw. By the time I'm done, I've got the beginning of a plan. I drive home and spend the afternoon going through our finances, our social media accounts, our shared email, everything I have access to as Ava's husband. What I find is worse than I expected. Credit card charges at restaurants I've never been to, hotels I've never stayed at, stores I've never shopped at. Hundreds of dollars spent on lingerie, perfume, and clothes that I've never seen her wear. A secret credit card I didn't know about, with a balance of over $3,000. Email exchanges with Dean going back 4 months, carefully worded but obviously romantic. Plans for weekend getaways that Ava told me were work conferences. Discussions about when Tyler's out of town and making sure Sophie doesn't see us. And most damaging of all, a conversation from 2 weeks ago where Ava tells Dean that she's tired of pretending and wants to make this official. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to end my marriage so they could be together. I screenshot everything and save it to a secure folder, then call my friend Marcus, who works at the bank. We went to high school together, and he owes me a favor from when I photographed his wedding for free. Marcus, I need to ask you about something, and I need you to keep it confidential. Sure, Tyler. What's up? If I wanted to protect my assets in case of a divorce, what would you recommend? Silence on the other end of the line. Tyler, are you and Ava having problems? Let's just say I'm planning for contingencies. Okay. Well, you'd want to document everything. Bank accounts, investments, property, debts. Make sure you have copies of all financial records. And you'd want to be careful about any major financial moves until you talk to a lawyer. What about joint accounts? You have equal access to joint accounts, but if you drain them, it'll look bad in court. Better to just monitor them and make sure she's not hiding money or spending recklessly. What if she already has been spending recklessly? Document it. Print statements, save receipts, build a paper trail. Financial infidelity is almost as damaging as sexual infidelity in divorce proceedings. Financial infidelity. I like that term. Thanks, Marcus. I owe you one. Tyler, whatever's going on, I'm sorry. Ava always seemed like one of the good ones. Yeah, well, people surprise you. I hang up and spend the rest of the afternoon building my case. By the time Ava comes home from work, I've got enough evidence to destroy her in a divorce court and enough ammunition to make her life very uncomfortable in the meantime. But I'm not ready to file for divorce yet. First, I'm going to make sure she understands exactly what she's lost. And I'm going to make sure Dean understands that actions have consequences. The war is just beginning. Ava comes home at her usual time, but she's nervous. I can tell by the way she keeps checking her phone and avoiding eye contact. She's made dinner, which is unusual. Spaghetti with meat sauce, garlic bread, salad. The kind of meal she used to make when we were dating and she was trying to impress me. "This looks great," I say, sitting down at the kitchen table. "What's the occasion?" "No occasion. I just thought we should try to get back to normal." Normal. Like normal is something we can just decide to return to, like a vacation destination. Sophie joins us, and for 20 minutes we play house, passing the salad, talking about Sophie's classes, pretending we're still a functional family. It's almost convincing, except for the way Ava jumps every time her phone buzzes, and the way Sophie keeps looking back and forth between us like she's waiting for someone to explode. "I have to work late again tonight," Ava says, as she clears the dishes. "The Henderson campaign needs some last-minute revisions." I pull out my phone and show her the screenshot of her email to Dean from this afternoon. "Can you meet me at 8? I need to see you." Her face goes white. "Try again," I say calmly. Sophie looks up from her homework. "Seriously, Mom? You're still doing this?" "Sophie, go to your room." "No," I say. "Sophie, stay right here. Your mother apparently thinks we're all stupid, so let's clear the air." Ava sits down heavily. "Tyler, please." "Please what? Please keep pretending I don't know what's going on? Please keep letting you lie to my face while you sneak around with my brother? Please keep acting like your Facebook post fixed everything?" "I meant what I said in that post. I want to work on our marriage." "Do you?" "Because your email to Dean suggests otherwise." I pull up another screenshot. "I can't keep doing this to Tyler, but I can't stop seeing you either. We need to figure out what we're going to do." "You went through my email?" "It's a shared account, Ava. I've always had access to it." "That's a violation of my privacy." Sophie snorts. "Mom, you're cheating on Dad with his brother. I don't think you get to complain about privacy violations." "Sophie." "No, she's right," I interrupt. "You gave up your right to privacy when you started lying to me. You want privacy? Get your own email account. Get your own phone plan. Get your own place." Ava's eyes fill with tears. "You want me to leave?" "I want you to stop lying to me. I want you to stop seeing Dean. I want you to act like you're married to me instead of him. I told you I would stop. And then you emailed him this afternoon to set up another meeting. That was to tell him we can't see each other anymore." "Bullshit. You've had 2 days to tell him that. You could have called him, texted him, driven to his gym. You didn't need a private meeting unless you were planning to do more than talk." She doesn't deny it, which tells me everything I need to know. My phone rings. Dean again. I answer it on speaker. "Tyler, we need to talk." "We're all here, Dean. Ava, Sophie, and me. Say whatever you need to say." "Jesus, Tyler, not on speaker. Not in front of Sophie." "Sophie already knows everything, Dean. The whole town knows everything. You two weren't exactly discreet. Look, I know you're pissed. Piss doesn't begin to cover it. But Ava and we're in love, Tyler. This isn't just some casual thing." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Not because I'm surprised, but because hearing it out loud makes it real in a way that all the evidence and screenshots couldn't. Sophie gasps. Ava covers her face with her hands. "You're in love," I repeat. "Yeah, we are. And I know that's hard to hear, but how long?" "What?" "How long have you been in love with my wife?" Silence on the other end of the line. "Dean?" "A long time, Tyler. Since before you guys got married." The room goes completely quiet. Even Sophie stops pretending to do homework. "You've been in love with Ava for 16 years, and you never said anything?" What was I supposed to say? You were my brother. She was your girlfriend, then your wife. I kept my distance. Until 3 months ago. Until she told me you guys were having problems and talking about an open marriage. I look at Ava. When did you tell him that? Tyler, when, Ava? The day after we talked about it. So you had dinner with me on a Sunday. We had a hypothetical conversation about open marriage, and you called my brother on Monday to tell him our marriage was open for business. It wasn't like that. What was it like? I was confused. I needed someone to talk to. And you picked the one person who's been waiting 16 years for you to be available? Dean's voice comes through the phone. Tyler, it's not Ava's fault. I pursued her. I convinced her. Shut up, Dean. Just shut up. I hang up and look at my wife and daughter. Sophie's staring at her mother like she's seeing her for the first time. Ava's crying again, but these tears look different. More desperate. Less manipulative. Mom, Sophie says quietly. Is that true? Have you been in love with Uncle Dean this whole time? No, sweetheart. I fell in love with your father. I married your father. Dean and I... It's complicated. It's not complicated, I say. It's simple. You got bored with your husband, and your husband's brother was available and interested. You told yourself it was love to make it seem less like cheating. That's not true. Prove it. How? Cut off all contact with Dean. Block his number, block his social media. Don't go places where you might see him. If you're really committed to our marriage, prove it. Okay, yes, I'll do that. Tonight. Tonight. I watch her pull out her phone and block Dean's number. She shows me the screen as proof, then does the same with his Facebook, Instagram, and email. There, she says. It's done. Good. Now we're going to lose Jim. What? Why? Because I'm going to have a conversation with Dean, and you're going to be there to make sure he understands that your affair is over. Tyler, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't care what you think is a good idea, Ava. You lost the right to have opinions about what's a good idea when you started screwing my brother. Sophie stands up. Can I come? No, Ava and I say simultaneously. This is family business, I tell her. Stay here, do your homework, and try not to post about this on social media. I'm not the one posting about family business on social media, Sophie mutters, but she sits back down. 20 minutes later, Ava and I are standing in the parking lot outside Lou's gym. Dean's truck is there with 2 new tires, along with a handful of other vehicles. Through the windows, I can see him working out with a couple of other guys, hitting the heavy bag like he's trying to eliminate it. Tyler, Ava says as we walk toward the door, please don't do anything crazy. Define crazy. Don't hit him. I'm not going to hit him, Ava. I'm going to talk to him, like adults. But I'm lying. I'm absolutely going to hit him. Lou's gym smells like sweat and leather and the kind of honest effort that comes from people working out their problems with their fists instead of their mouths. Dean's at the heavy bag in the corner, throwing combinations that would be impressive if I didn't know he was imagining my face on the target. He sees us walk in and stops mid-punch, his hands still wrapped and his face flushed from exertion. The 2 other guys in the gym, Mike Torino and Steve Walsh, both locals I know from high school, stop what they're doing and watch. In a town like Millfield, entertainment is scarce, and a family drama playing out in public is better than cable TV. Tyler, Dean says, pulling off his gloves. Ava, I wasn't expecting to see you guys here. I bet you weren't. Lou emerges from his office, takes one look at the situation, and jerks his head toward Mike and Steve. You 2, hit the showers. We're closing early tonight. But Lou, Mike starts, out. They grab their stuff and leave, but slowly, hoping to catch some of the show before they go. Lou locks the door behind them and flips the sign to closed. Whatever you 3 need to work out, he says. Work it out fast and clean. I don't want to have to explain the stains on my mats to my insurance company. Dean unwraps his hands, his eyes moving back and forth between Ava and me. Tyler, I know you're angry. Stop talking. But we need to discuss this like adults. I said stop talking. I walk over to the equipment rack and pull on a pair of boxing gloves, taking my time with the laces. Dean watches me, and I can see him calculating whether I'm serious or just trying to intimidate him. "Tyler," Ava says, "you said you just wanted to talk." I lied. I turned to face Dean, who's backed up against the heavy bag. "Put your gloves back on." "I'm not going to fight you, Tyler." "Yes, you are. This is stupid. We can work this out without—" I hit him in the mouth, a quick jab that snaps his head back and splits his lip. Not hard enough to do serious damage, but hard enough to get his attention. "Jesus, Tyler." "Put your gloves on, or I'm going to keep hitting you while you're defenseless." Lou steps forward. "Tyler, that's enough. You made your point." "No, I didn't. My point is that actions have consequences. My point is that you don't get to sleep with my wife and then act like we're still brothers." Dean wipes his lip and looks at Ava. "Are you going to let him do this?" "She doesn't get a vote," I say. "This is between you and me." Dean pulls his gloves back on, his face hard with anger and embarrassment. "Fine. You want to do this? Let's do this." We square off in the center of the mat, circling each other like we're in an actual boxing match instead of settling a family dispute. Dean's got reach on me, but I've got better technique and a lot more motivation. He throws the first real punch, a right cross aimed at my jaw. I slip it and counter with a hook to his ribs that makes him grunt and back up. We exchange combinations for 30 seconds, both of us landing shots, both of us taking punishment. Dean's always been the better athlete, but I've been training harder and longer, and I'm fighting for something more important than just winning a sparring match. When he drops his guard for a split second, I catch him with an uppercut that lifts him off his feet and sends him crashing into the heavy bag. He stays down for a moment, breathing hard. "Get up," I tell him. "Tyler, stop," Ava says. "This isn't solving anything." "It's solving everything. Get up, Dean." He struggles to his feet and raises his gloves, but his heart isn't in it anymore. I can see it in his eyes. The fight's gone out of him, and now he just wants it to be over. I hit him 3 more times, body shot, head shot. He goes down again, this time staying down. "That's enough," Lou says, stepping between us. "It's over." I pull off my gloves and look down at Dean, who's sitting against the heavy bag with his head in his hands. "You're right," I tell him. "It is over. Everything between us is over. You're not my brother anymore. You're not welcome in my house. You're not welcome around my family. And if I ever see you with my wife again, this will seem like a friendly conversation." I turn to Ava, who's gone pale and shaky. "And you. You're going to choose, right now, him or me. But you don't get both. Tyler, please. Choose." She looks at Dean, then at me, then back at Dean. The silence stretches out until it becomes unbearable. "I choose you," she says finally. "I choose our marriage." "Prove it." "How?" I pull out my phone and open the camera app. "Tell him it's over, on video, so there's no confusion later." "Tyler, that's— Do it, or we're done right now." Ava takes a shaky breath and looks into the camera. "Dean, what we had is over. I'm sorry, but I'm choosing my marriage. I'm choosing Tyler. Please don't contact me again." I stop recording and look at Dean, who's finally managed to get to his feet. "You hear that? She chose me. Just like she chose me 16 years ago, and 15 years ago, and every year since then, until you convinced her to throw it all away for a few afternoons in a cheap motel." Dean spits red liquid onto the mat. "This isn't over, Tyler." "Yes, it is. Because if it's not over, if you keep pushing this, I'm going to post that video of Ava ending things with you on every social media platform in town. And then I'm going to post the screenshots of all your romantic emails and text messages. And then I'm going to tell everyone about how you've been in love with my wife since before we got married, but never had the balls to do anything about it until you thought you could steal her from me. You wouldn't. Try me." Lou unlocks the gym door. "You two need to leave. Now. And Dean, don't come back for a while." Ava and I walk to our cars in silence. She's crying again, but I don't care anymore. I'm done caring about her tears and her feelings and her confusion. She made her choice when she started the affair, and now she's living with the consequences. "Tyler," she says as I'm getting in my truck. "Thank you." "For what?" "For fighting for our marriage." I look at her for a long moment. "I wasn't fighting for our marriage, Ava. I was fighting for my pride. There's a difference." I drive home alone, leaving her to follow in her own car and think about what just happened. The fight felt good, better than I expected, but it didn't solve anything. Dean and Ava might be over, but Ava and I are still broken, maybe beyond repair. But I'm not done yet. Not even close. The real revenge is just beginning. 3 days after the fight at Lou's gym, Dean shows up at my house. I'm in the garage working on my truck when I hear his footsteps on the gravel driveway. He's walking slowly, favoring his left side where I caught him with those body shots, and there's still some swelling around his right eye. "Tyler." I don't look up from the engine. "I thought I made it clear you weren't welcome here. We need to talk." "No, we don't. It's about Ava." That gets my attention. I straighten up and look at him. He's wearing sunglasses despite the overcast sky, probably to hide the damage to his face, and he looks like he hasn't slept in days. "What about Ava?" "She's been calling me." I set down my wrench and give him my full attention. "What do you mean she's been calling you?" "Every day since the fight, sometimes multiple times a day. She says she made a mistake, that she chose you because she was scared, but she really wants to be with me." The words hit me like a physical blow, but I keep my expression neutral. And I told her it was over, like she said in that video you made her record, but she won't stop calling. "Show me." Dean pulls out his phone and scrolls through his call log. Ava's name appears over and over again, 17 calls in 3 days, some lasting 20 or 30 minutes. "She's using a different number," he explains. "I blocked her regular phone, so she's calling from her work phone, her office landline, even Sophie's phone." "What does she say?" "That she loves me, that she can't live without me, that you forced her to choose and she chose wrong." He pauses. "That she's planning to leave you anyway, so we might as well be together." The garage feels like it's spinning around me. I grip the edge of the workbench to steady myself. "Tyler, I swear to God I'm not encouraging this. I told her it was over. I meant it." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you're my brother. And because she's talking crazy, saying she's going to tell Sophie that you forced her to break up with me, that you're abusive, that she's afraid of you." "I never touched her." "I know that. But she's desperate, and desperate people do stupid things." I pull out my own phone and check Ava's location. We share our locations through a family app, supposedly for safety, but really so we can keep tabs on each other. According to the app, she's at work. "Where is she calling you from?" "Her office, mostly. Sometimes her car." "And you're sure you're not encouraging this?" "Tyler, look at my face. Look at my ribs. You think I want to go another round with you over a woman who can't make up her mind?" He has a point. Dean might be a lot of things, but he's not stupid enough to keep pursuing Ava after the beating I gave him. "What do you want me to do about it?" "Talk to her. Make her stop. Because if she keeps this up, I'm going to have to get a restraining order, and that's going to make this whole mess even more public than it already is." A restraining order. That would be the final humiliation, my wife harassing my brother after their affair ended, forcing him to get legal protection from her obsession. "I'll handle it." "Thanks." He turns to leave, then stops. "Tyler, for what it's worth, I am sorry. About all of it." "No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry it didn't work out the way you wanted, but you're not sorry you did it." He doesn't deny it, which confirms what I already knew. Dean isn't sorry about the affair. He's sorry about the consequences. After he leaves, I sit in my truck and call Ava's work number. "Millfield Marketing, this is Ava." It's me. We need to talk. Tyler, I'm in a meeting. No, you're not. You're sitting in your office calling my brother and begging him to take you back. Silence. Come home. Now. I can't just leave work. Ava, come home now, or I'm coming to your office and we're having this conversation in front of your boss and all your co-workers. 20 minutes later, her Honda pulls into the driveway. She walks into the house looking defensive and scared, like a teenager who's been caught sneaking out. Dean told me about the phone calls. What phone calls? Don't lie to me. Not anymore. I'm done with the lies. She sits down on the couch and covers her face with her hands. I can't help it, Tyler. I can't stop thinking about him. You made a choice. You chose our marriage. I chose wrong. The words are like a knife in my chest, but I've been expecting them since Dean showed me his call log. So what do you want to do about it? I don't know. I'm so confused. No, you're not confused. You're just selfish. You want Dean, but you also want the security of being married to me. You want the affair, but you don't want the consequences. You want to have your cake and eat it too. That's not true. Prove it. Make a real choice. Either commit to our marriage, really commit, no more contact with Dean, no more lies, no more games, or leave. But stop trying to have both. And if I choose Dean, then you leave. Tonight. You pack your stuff and you go and we file for divorce tomorrow. What about Sophie? Sophie will be fine. She's 16, not 6. She can handle her parents getting divorced. And if I choose you, then you prove it. You get counseling. You cut all contact with Dean permanently. You rebuild the trust you destroyed, and you accept that it's going to take a long time for me to forgive you, if I ever do. Ava looks at me with tears in her eyes. What if I can't choose? Then I'll choose for you. I walk to the closet and pull out the suitcase we used for our honeymoon 16 years ago. I set it on the coffee table between us. You have 1 hour to decide. If you're still here when Sophie gets home from school, I'll assume you're choosing our marriage. If you're gone, I'll assume you're choosing Dean. Tyler, please. 1 hour, Ava, make your choice. I leave her sitting on the couch with the empty suitcase and go back to the garage to wait. Through the window, I can see her pacing around the living room, picking up her phone and putting it down, looking at the suitcase like it's a bomb. 45 minutes later, I hear her car start. When Sophie comes home from school, the suitcase is gone, and so is Ava. Where's Mom? Sophie asks. She's gone to stay with Dean for a while. Sophie nods like she's been expecting this. Are you okay, Dad? I will be. Are you going to get divorced? Probably. Good, she says, and disappears upstairs to do her homework. That night, I call a divorce lawyer and schedule an appointment for the next morning. Then I sit in my empty house and wait for Ava to realize what she's given up. She doesn't call. The divorce papers are served 3 weeks later, on a Tuesday morning when the whole town is buzzing about the Henderson campaign that Ava was supposedly working so hard on. Turns out, she was fired from Millfield marketing the day after she moved in with Dean. Apparently, her boss didn't appreciate the drama affecting the workplace, especially when clients started asking questions about the woman who was managing their social media while having a very public affair. I find this out from Marcus at the bank, who heard it from his wife, who works in the same building as Ava's former office. In Millfield, gossip travels faster than bad news, and bad news travels faster than everything else. She's working at Dean's gym now, Marcus tells me over coffee at the diner where I first started following Ava's car. Answering phones, doing bookkeeping. Word is, Dean's not too happy about having to support her. I'm not surprised. Dean liked the idea of stealing my wife, but he probably didn't think through the practical implications of actually having to live with her. Ava's expensive. She likes nice clothes, good restaurants, regular trips to the salon. Dean's gym barely breaks, even on a good month. How's Sophie handling it? Marcus asks. Better than I expected. She's staying with me, obviously. Ava's been trying to get her to visit, but Sophie's not interested. Smart kid. Yeah, she is. Sophie's been my anchor through all of this. She's angry at her mother, angrier than I am in some ways. But she's also been surprisingly mature about the whole situation. She helps with dinner, keeps up with her schoolwork, and doesn't complain about the fact that our family has imploded in the most public way possible. Dad, she said last week, I know this sucks for you, but honestly, I'm kind of relieved. The tension in the house was getting really bad. She was right. The constant lying and sneaking around had poisoned the atmosphere in our home. Now that Ava's gone and the truth is out, there's a strange sense of peace, even in the middle of the chaos. The divorce proceedings are brutal but straightforward. Ava wants half of everything, including the house and my photography business. She also wants alimony, which is laughable considering she's the one who destroyed our marriage by having an affair with my brother. My lawyer, Janet Morrison, is a sharp woman in her 50s who's handled half the divorces in Millfield over the past 20 years. She takes one look at the evidence I've compiled, the photos, the emails, the financial records, the documentation of Ava's affair, and smiles like a shark. This is going to be easier than I thought, she tells me. Adultery is still grounds for divorce in this state, and she was stupid enough to leave a paper trail. Plus, she's been spending marital assets on her affair, hotels, dinners, gifts for your brother. That's dissipation of marital property. What does that mean? It means she has to pay back the money she spent on her boyfriend, and it means she's not getting alimony. The first court hearing is a disaster for Ava. She shows up with a cheap lawyer who's clearly in over his head, and she's obviously been crying. Dean isn't with her. I heard through the grapevine that they've been fighting about money and the stress of the divorce. Janet presents our evidence methodically. The affair, the lies, the financial infidelity, the harassment of Dean after their relationship supposedly ended. By the end of the hearing, even Ava's lawyer looks embarrassed. The judge awards me primary custody of Sophie, the house, and my business. Ava gets her car, her personal belongings, and half of our savings account, minus the money she spent on the affair, which comes to about $4,000. Mr. Harper, the judge says, I'm sorry you had to go through this. No one deserves to have their marriage destroyed by this kind of betrayal. Outside the courthouse, Ava tries to talk to me. Tyler, please, can we work something out privately? We just did. You got exactly what you deserved. I made a mistake. I know that now. Dean and I, it's not working out. That's not my problem anymore. What about Sophie? She won't even talk to me. Sophie's old enough to make her own decisions about who she wants in her life. If she doesn't want to see you, that's between you and her. You're turning her against me. I didn't have to turn her against you, Ava. You did that yourself when you chose Dean over your family. She starts crying, but I don't feel sorry for her anymore. I've used up all my sympathy and forgiveness, and there's nothing left. 2 months later, I hear that Dean's gym is closing. Apparently, the stress of the affair, the fight, the divorce, and the gossip has driven away most of his clients. People in small towns don't like drama, and they especially don't like being associated with home wreckers. Ava moves back in with her parents, which must be humiliating for a 34-year-old woman who thought she was trading up when she left her husband for his brother. Dean moves to the next town over where nobody knows his story yet. Sophie and I settle into a new routine. She cooks dinner twice a week, I handle the other nights, and we eat takeout on Sundays while watching movies. It's not the family I planned on having, but it's honest and peaceful and real. Dad? Sophie says one night while we're cleaning up after dinner. Do you think you'll ever get married again? I don't know. Maybe someday. Why? Because you deserve someone who appreciates you. Mom never did. What makes you say that? She was always complaining about something. The house wasn't nice enough. We didn't go on expensive enough vacations. You didn't make enough money. She never seemed happy with what we had. Sophie's right. Ava was always looking for something better, something more exciting, something that would make her feel special. I was never going to be enough for her because I was just her husband, not her fantasy. Well, I tell Sophie, I'm not in any hurry. I've got everything I need right here. She hugs me, and for the first time in months, I feel genuinely happy. 6 months after the divorce is finalized, I run into Lou at the grocery store. He's buying steaks and beer, probably for one of the barbecues he throws for his boxing students. Tyler, how've you been? Good, really good. How's the gym? Busier than ever. Turns out kicking your brother's ass was great advertising. Half the guys in town want to learn how to fight like you. I wasn't really fighting like anything, I was just angry. Same thing sometimes. You should come back. I could use help training some of the newer guys. I'll think about it. Do that. And Tyler, you did the right thing. With Ava, with Dean, with all of it. Sometimes people need to face consequences for their actions. Thanks, Lou. That night, I looked through the photos on my phone, pictures from before everything fell apart, when we still looked like a happy family. Ava and Sophie at the lake, Dean and me after a boxing session, the 4 of us at Sophie's birthday party last year. I delete all the photos with Ava and Dean in them. Then I take a new picture of Sophie and me making dinner together, and I post it on Facebook with the caption, "New traditions with my favorite person." Within an hour, it has 50 likes and 20 comments, all supportive, all positive. Mrs. Feldman comments, "You two look happy, so glad you're doing well." Even Mrs. Feldman, the town gossip who started this whole mess by photographing me at the motel, is on my side now. That's how badly Ava and Dean screwed up. They managed to turn the entire town against them. I close Facebook and help Sophie with her homework, and for the first time in over a year, I don't think about my ex-wife at all. The war is over, and I won.